Hey, I welcome you all to today's lesson. So we are going to revise through coordinate geometry. I believe we covered this part. We just need to revise here and there. So I decided that we go through coordinate geometry today. So let us see how we are going to move with coordinate geometry. We try to revise through how questions come, how we can handle questions in an exam. So under coordinate geometry, we've got this first question. So I'll answer this first question, then tell you what you are supposed to know, what you are not supposed to miss in an exam. So coordinate geometry is very simple as long as you just understand the basics, what is needed. So we've got a question here which is saying if A is a point 4, 0 and B is 0, 8, find equation of AB. We want to find the equation AB. Like I always say before I continue, make sure you are able to write down these questions for the sake of revision. So don't say I'll come back to the video. Make sure you just copy, write down in your book so that at your own time you are able to revise through. So, and the good part is that when you're writing, you're also developing another skill of understanding more. You're going to understand more because something that you write, you are able to remember than just hearing. So we've got this question. We are taught to find the equation of AB. We want to find the equation of AB. So how can you find the equation of AB? So this equation of AB, for me to find the equation of AB, I know that the equation is like this. This is the equation of AB. The equation of AB is this one. Y minus y1 is equal to m open bracket x minus x1. This is the equation of what? This is the equation of AB. So all these points I have x1, y1 I have, but what I don't have is the gradient. Which means that for me to find the equation of AB, I first need to find the gradient. So I need to find the gradient. That's the first thing that I need to do. I find the what? The gradient. So I need to find the gradient. I need to find the gradient. How do we find the gradient? I've got 2 points. I've got 4, 0 and they're saying this is A, then B is what? 0, 8. These are 2 points which are given. So I'm going to use these 2 points to find the gradient. So I'm going to say this is x1, this is y1. This is x2, this is y2. This is what I'm going to do. Then you know the formula for gradient. What's the formula for gradient? Gradient is equal to m2 minus, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Where you're going to say that this is equal to, what is your y2? Y2 is 8 minus, what is your y1? 0, like that, over, what is your x2? X2 is 0 minus what? Minus x1. X1 there, it is 4. So I put a 4 there, which is equal to, this is equal to 8 over negative 4. So 8 divided by negative 4, what is the answer? The answer is negative 2. So I found the gradient. The gradient is what? Negative 2. So my gradient is negative 2. This is my gradient. My gradient is what? Negative 2. That's when now I can go back to the equation. So I'll go back to my equation. This is the equation which I wrote. So I'm going to lab this part because I found the gradient which I wanted. So you know that, okay, gradient is what? Neg 2. That is the gradient. So I just need to replace here. So Hope you are able to remember the points. This was x1. This was what? y2. This was x1. This was y1, like that. This is how it was. Hope you are able to remember. This was x1, y1. This was x2. This was y2, like that. So on this formula, I do what? I replace. I just need to replace. So I say y minus, what is my y1? What is y1? y1, 0, which is equal to, what is my gradient? Negative 2. I do this, open bracket, x. So this x, it is not x1, it is just x, meaning it is constant. Same applies with this one. You may wondering why I'm not including this. This y and this x, these two are constant, so just leave them like that. Minus, what is x1? 4. You put a 4 there. You do this. Y minus 0, it is y, which is equal to negative 2 times x. Negative 2x. Negative times negative, that is positive. 2 times 2, 2 times 4, 8. So you've got 8. This is your what? This is your equation. So this is the equation that you need to know. This is the equation that you need to understand. So this is how we find the equation of the line AB. This is how you need to find the equation of the line AB. Just like that. That's how we need to know these things. Have you seen the way I've answered this? This is how you also need to answer this one. Let us look at the second one. So the second one that we are going to look at. Let's say you are given a question that, given this is the question, given that 2x minus 7y minus 1 is equal to 0. Have you seen? Is equal to 0. This is how this question is. Given that 2y minus 7y minus 1 is equal to 0. Find the gradient of the equation. Find the gradient. Find the gradient. Find the gradient of this. So this is the question. How can we find the gradient of this? So this is the equation which you are given. You are given this equation. Then you are taught to find the what? You are taught to find the gradient. So you are given this equation. Then you are taught to find the gradient. How can you find the gradient? There is this one equation that you need to know, which is y is equal to mx plus c. Have you seen the way this one is? So here where there is m here, this is the gradient, which means that the coefficient of x in the equation, that's the gradient, when y has been made the subject of the formula, the way it is like this. So here y is the subject of the what? Y is the subject of the formula. So which means that even on this question, the first thing I need to do, I need to make y the subject of the formula. After I make y the subject of the formula, then the coefficient of x, that's the gradient. This is what you need to follow. This is what we are going to follow. Which means that we've got this equation 2x minus 7y minus 1 is equal to 0. I make y the subject of the formula, which means I'm going to have negative 7y, this one will remain, which is equal to, when this one goes that side, I'm going to have what? I'm going to have, so I can start with this one, when this one goes that side, I'm going to have negative 2x. This one goes that side, it is plus 1 like this. You can write it like this, or you can start with a 1 minus 2x. There is no problem, just one and the same thing. So this is what we need to know and understand. So after like this, after you do this, the next thing is to, your main aim is making y the subject of the formula. So you divide both sides by -7. This is how you're going to divide throughout the whole equation by -7. So this will be cancelled. So what you're going to have is what? You're going to have y is equal to negative cancelled. You're going to have 2 over 7x there, then plus. Since this one is a negative, so there the sign will be -1 over 7 like this. Don't forget the equation that I wrote. This one here, the c here, it is a constant. This is the y-intercept. Then this one here, which is here, this is the gradient that we want. This is the same one that is here. So you just get the coefficient. This part, you just get that part. Which means that here, what is the coefficient? 2 over 7. Which means that for you to answer this question, the gradient of this equation is what? The gradient is 2 over 7. This is how you need to answer it. So just like that, you've answered it. So this is how you need to answer that. That's how you need to answer that one. That is how we need to answer those questions. So we've answered that part. That is simple, just like that. That's how you need to answer these questions using these principles. Let us move to the third question. Let me give you the third question. We go to the third question. So the same way I'm answering, this is how you also need to answer this. You also need to answer this. The question is saying, find the, so as I'm writing, I'm also writing, find the equation of the line. So find the equation of the line passing through. Find the equation of the line passing through. So the equation of the line which is passing through. Equation of the line passing through. So equation of the line passing through a point. Passing through a point 5, 0, whose gradient, this is how it is, whose gradient is 3. This is how the question is. How is the question? The question is saying, find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line passing through a point 0, 5, whose gradient is 3. So the gradient here is what? The gradient is 3. That's the gradient. So the question is telling us to find the equation of the line which is passing through this when the gradient is that. So how can you go about this question? How can you answer it? I believe this is the division that we are doing. We all have ideas about this. We all know how to go about this question. So how can you answer it? How can you answer such a question? So what you are going to do is this. You know that the equation which I wrote, whenever you want to find the equation of a line, I want you to be using this one. We've got 2. They are about 2. Like this. I want you to be using this one. I want you to be used to this one because mostly whenever I'm solving questions, I use this one. This one is very simple. The other one is this one. Y is equal to mx plus c. These are the 2 equations that we get to use. So it just depends with the type of a teacher that you have. I know how to use 2 of them, but I want you to be used to this one, because for you to use this one, it is also very simple, but you need to find the c here. Find the c here, then you substitute. It is also simple, but I want you to be used just knowing how to find that one using this equation here. So what you are going to do is this. Are you given the gradient? Yes, you are given the gradient. Are you given a point? Yes. this is the point which is given. So this is x1, this is y1. Then you just substitute in this equation which is given here. So this is what you're going to do. Y minus, what is your y1? 5. Y1 is 5 there, which is equal to, what is your gradient? 3. Open bracket, x minus, what is your x1? 0. You do this. So finally you've got y minus 5 is equal to what? 3. Here, x minus 0, it is x times 3, it is 3x. This 5 will go to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to form y is equal to 3x plus 5. This is the equation that you formed. So this is the equation of that line. This is how you need to answer them. So this is how you need to get this. Let's make sure that we understand this part correctly and very well. Have you seen the way I've answered this? This is how you need to answer it. This is how you need to get a question. So these are ways that I want you to be answering questions. These are ways that I want you to be getting the questions correctly. So this is how we'll be answering questions, and this is how you need to go about questions. These are ways in which questions will be coming in your exams. This is how questions will be coming. So let's make sure that we know this. Let's make sure that we understand everything which is given. So let us look at another part which we've done. So what if you are given a question? You are given a question like this. So you are given a question. So what I've taught you, hope you are able to get something. Hope this revision is helping you. So this is, I answered this part, just want to make it clear. So this is the question that I'm having here. This is the question saying state, so I've answered this, state the gradient and y-intercept, gradient and y-intercept. So state the gradient and y-intercept of the line, So of the line, which line? This is the line x plus 2y is equal to 2. I've answered this. So hope you are able to answer this one. There's just one point that I want to emphasize so much so that we all get the point, because this one usually comes. So just want to make sure that we get that point. We don't miss it in an exam. So it is saying state the gradient and y-intercept. So they want you to state the gradient and the y-intercept of the line, this line. Have you seen this line? This is the line that we are given. So how can you now state the gradient? I told you that whenever you are given such equation, you write this equation. This is y is equal to mx plus c. This one which is attached to x, that is the gradient. When y has been made the subject of the formula, so what we need to do, we need to get this equation, make y the subject of the formula, and the equation should look like this. Y is equal to number here, then x, then plus c. C is a constant. So we need to make sure that the equation looks like this. This is the gradient which we are taught to find. Then the c here, it is the y-intercept. So what I'm going to do is this. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say this is x plus 2y is equal to 2. This x will go to this other side. So I'm going to have 2y is equal to negative x plus 2. Have you seen the way I've done this? This x has come this side. So this is positive. When it crosses this equal to sign, the sign will change. It becomes what? It is going to become negative, like that. From here now, I divide both sides by 2, throughout by 2, by 2. This is what I'm going to do. So this cancelled. I'm going to have y is equal to negative x over 2 plus, what is 2 divided by 2? I'm going to have 1 there. Have you seen like this? So now the question after this, I've expressed, have you seen the way this one is looking? That's how this one is looking. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to now get the gradient. So what is the gradient? The gradient is equal to what? The gradient for this one, it is equal to what? What is the gradient? You check the gradient. What is the gradient? What is your gradient? This one. Here there is 1. So we start with the coefficient down there. You can't get a 2 here. No, this is not correct. There is over here. So which means on top there we've got a 1 there. So it is negative 1 over 2. Negative 1 over 2. This is how you need to answer it. Then you are taught to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept, it is the c. What is the c there? It is 1. So you've answered this question. We've learned how to find the what? How to find the gradient, then the y-intercept. This is how you need to do that. This is how you need to understand. So these are some of the ways in which questions will be coming in an exam. So we just need to get this and that. We go to distance now. Sometimes we'll be given distance, we'll be taught to find distance. You'll be taught to find distance. So they will tell you to find distance in some cases. So let's say find, this is the question, find the distance. This is the question, find the distance between. So that is between, you can complete it. Find the distance between point A, which is 0,3, and B, which is 4,0. This is the question. So we want to find the distance between these two. What is the formula for distance? How do we find the distance? Which formula are we going to use when finding distance? So the formula for distance, this is the formula. Distance is equal to, you put square root. Square root of what? You say y2 minus y1 cross then squared, plus you say x2 minus x1 cross then squared, like this. This is the formula for what? For gradient. Oh, I mean for distance. This is the formula for distance. This is the formula we use for distance. So now, you just now substitute in the formula. You say this is x1, this is y1. This is x2, this is y2. You use the coordinates which are given. So we use the coordinates which are what? Which are given. So we say distance is equal to, distance is equal to what? Distance is equal to what? You replace. You say y2, you check. What is your y2 there? 0. 0 minus y1, 3. Say cross squared, plus. I do this. What is my x2? My x2 is 4. Minus x1, 0. Cross squared. So what am I going to have? I'm going to have distance is equal to, I'm going to do this. This will be 0 minus 3, it's negative 3 squared plus. Then what's the answer there? 4 squared. Finally, I'm going to have my answer as, what is negative 3 squared? Negative 3 times negative 3, that is positive 9. Plus, what is 4 squared? 4 times 4, it is 16. Then I'm going to form what? I'm going to have this plus that, that is 25. So what is my distance now? What is the square root of 25? It is what? 5. This is the what? This is the distance. This is how you need to write the distance. So this is the what? This is the distance. This is the formula you need to use whenever you are taught to find the distance. So this is how we get to find the distance. So we need to know all these formulas. We need to know and understand this. This is how you need to know it. This is how you need to understand coordinate geometry. This is how coordinate geometry is. So make sure we understand this part. There is also another part where you are told that the equations are perpendicular. So what if you are told, you are given a question like this? They are saying, this is what they are saying. They are saying, the question is saying, find the equation of the line perpendicular. So this is the question. Perpendicular to y is equal to 4x. Y is equal to 4x minus 1. And passing through 2, 0. This is the question which you are given. Have you seen the way this question is? The question is saying, find the equation of the line perpendicular to this. So we find the equation of the line which is perpendicular to this. And passing through what? Passing through this point. So it is passing through this point. So how can you find the equation of the line which is perpendicular to another line? So when two lines are perpendicular to each other, when two equations are perpendicular to each other, what you need to know is that when you multiply their gradient, when you say gradient 1, which is the first gradient, times gradient 2, you need to get negative 1. This is what you need to get. So what we are going to do is this. This is what we are going to do and form. So what I need to do, the first thing that I need to do is to find the gradient of this. I find the gradient of that, which will be my gradient 1. After I find my gradient 1, that's when I'll go and find gradient 2, which I'm going to use in finding the equation which I'm told. So I get that equation. That equation is what? Y is equal to 4x minus 1. This is the equation which I'm given. So with this equation, I find the gradient. It is well arranged. It is very easy to get the gradient. Gradient is equal to what? 4. This one which is attached to x. So gradient is what? 4. It is very simple. But if it was disorganized like others, then you need to follow those procedures until you make y the subject of the formula. But like this is very simple. So I have the gradient, which is my first gradient. So using the formula which is here, so I've got this formula which is m1 times m2 is equal to negative 1. So I have my m1 which I've found here. What is my m1? It is 4. So I say 4 times m2 is equal to negative 1. I divide both sides by 4. I divide both sides by 4. So this and that cancelled. I'm going to have m2 is equal to neg1 over 4. That is my m2. So this is now the gradient that I'm going to use to find the equation which is perpendicular to this equation. So whenever an equation you are told to find is perpendicular to what you are given, so which means you need to find gradient 2. Don't only find the first gradient, you need to find gradient 2. So we are going to find gradient 2. So we find gradient 2. So this is what we are going to do now. We've got gradient 2. So this is what we are going to use. So just to write a simple data that we've gathered, we've got gradient 2 which we are going to use, which is negative 1 over 4. we've got a coordinate here which is 2, 0. This is x1, this is y1. Then you just write the equation that we've been writing. Y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1, like this. This is how it is. So now I say, okay, with this now, I just substitute y minus, what is my y1? 0, which is equal to gradient -1 over 4, open bracket. Then I've got x, like this, x. Then minus x1, it is 2. I'm going to do this. So I say y minus 0, it is y, which is equal to this times that times x, it is -1 over 4 x. This plus that, negative times negative, it is positive. So 1 times 2, it is 2 over 4, like this. So if I want, I can reduce this. 2 there, it is 1. 2 there, it is 2. So 1 over 2. So where there is 2 over 4, I can put 1 over 2. Just one and the same. 1 over 2, I can put that. So this is the equation which is perpendicular. So I've calculated the equation which is perpendicular. Hope you have followed how I was answering this, how you need to go about them, and the procedures you need to get. So these are some of the things that you need to know. These are some of the things that you need to